We as parents know how heartbreaking and frustrating it can be to hear our kids say things like, I can't do it, breaking down, crying over something. And especially if we know that they are capable of it, or maybe they just need to practice those skills a little bit more and have that genuine self-confidence that they can. But for some reason, they have these limiting beliefs. And while it may be just kind of our gut reaction to say, yes, you can, or you can do it, these are actually not helpful things to say. I would not recommend you say things like that. In this video, I'm going to talk you through what's happening in their mind with these limiting beliefs, what you should say and what you shouldn't say and why. And even just in general, how to reach your kids at a more deeper level and help them recognize these things and how they can fix it themselves. And you know what? These tips would be really helpful for parents as well. If you're a homeschooling parent out there who says, I just don't have the patience to do this, that's a limiting belief as well, and the same things apply. So let's get started. Hi there, welcome back to our house. And if you're new here, welcome. I like to help families like yourself achieve sustainable and enjoyable homeschooling. And admittedly, it's not very enjoyable, especially with the self-taught curriculum where a lot of the responsibility is placed on the child if they have these limiting beliefs or they genuinely feel like they can't do it, right? It's not very pleasant, it's not very enjoyable, and it can be not very sustainable if that continues, that pattern. So let's break it down, what's happening and what to do and what not to do. So what's happening in their brain when a child says something like, I can't do this, and for adults as well, is that they have consciously just made the decision that they don't have the skill to do that particular task. And as parents, we might be able to recognize that they do have those skills and capabilities. So we want to tell them, yes, you can, but this is not helpful at all. What I believe is more helpful as a parent is to just come to grips and accept that at this moment in time, that is their belief that they cannot do this. And keep in mind, beliefs change. It's okay as we get more information, more experiences, more knowledge, we start to change our opinion on things. So for example, let's think about this even with kids. Now, we don't do Santa Claus at our house. We never did that. But I believed in Santa growing up. And so I had that belief. I really believed that Santa came down the chimney, even though we didn't have a chimney in Los Angeles and we sang things like It Never Snows in LA. I really believed this, okay? And then it was one day where my brother told me, I had told my parents what I wanted for Christmas. I wanted this big dollhouse. And my brother, who was not in school at the time, he was home all day, saw it being delivered. And he told me after school, he told me, hey, look what's under the bed. And I looked under the bed and there was my dollhouse weeks before Christmas. And at that time, I knew my beliefs had changed, that there was no more Santa Claus, right? And it was actually my parents who were Santa Claus. So my beliefs changed. I believed something so strongly, but the minute I was faced with some new information, a new experience, my belief drastically changed. And the same can happen to your kids with any number of things, including their skills and abilities. And as an adult out there, I'm sure you can completely agree with this because you have all these experiences, I'm sure, where your beliefs changed on something. I know when I became a Christian, my beliefs changed a lot. My beliefs on parenting changed, on marriage changed. So that's something we just have to come to accept. And for our kids at that moment in time, that is their belief. So what not to do, what's not helpful is just saying things like, you can do it, yes, you can. Instead, ask these questions. What do you need in order to be able to do that? You know, that's something really big I always stress with my kids. Come to me and tell me what resources you need. I might not be able to do it all for you. You know, there are things that you're going to have to work through and do in life, but I'm here to help you as much as I can to prepare you. Tell me what resources you need. So for example, let's take those RC math flashcards. You give them a stack or you give them that whole big pile and they're thinking, I can't do this. So you can ask them at that point, what do you need in order to be able to do this? Maybe they'll say, I need a quiet place. I need a place without distractions. I need more space. I need more time, you know, things like that. Invite that conversation. Another really big thing is to get them to imagine what it would feel like if they could do it. So ask them questions like, what if you could do it? Imagine yourself doing it. How would that feel? What else would you be able to do, right? So again, with the flashcards, what if you could do it? well, I would be done with flashcards. I wouldn't get any mistakes anymore. I could start Saks in 5-4 already and be done with this and be confident, whatever. So get them to have this conversation and picture it. This is something that I do all the time. If I want to accomplish something, a goal, I must visualize it and I must feel as if I'm in the moment. And it's not some hokey pokey secret stuff. It's not that, because what happens is this is a part of our brain, just like when you're dreaming, doesn't know what's real or not real when you're picturing something like this. That's why dreams feel scary in the moment, right? That's why you can give yourself anxiety thinking about something and you're not in any physical pain, but you're creating this anguish because you're triggering it by visualizing it, right? You're getting that amygdala going. It's all this stuff, right? I could go on and on about that. Okay, but here's the deal. When you feel good about something that you want to accomplish, then you are going to activate with your eyes all around you, with your senses, the things that you need in order to be able to achieve that. Just like when you're thinking about, I really want a pair of white tennis shoes, just a random example, then you're gonna go out, running errands, and you're gonna notice every pair of white tennis shoes because it's on your radar. They were always there. People were always wearing white tennis shoes, but just because now you have it on your radar and you're dwelling on it, you're going to pick it up. So same thing, whenever you have a goal, all the resources are already there, but you're going to pick up on those things because it's on your radar. So they need to put it on their radar. So that's what this whole imagination thing or visualization, whatever you want to call it, but it's very powerful, especially if kids learn this young, to carry them through life, to be able to do that. Now, here's the second way that parents can go wrong with this, and that's when they use the word try. Just try to do it. This is a bad word. Just try to eliminate it from your vocabulary. Yes, of course, there's that famous saying from Yoda, right? Do or do not, there is no try. And that's actually a really good saying, and I'm gonna explain to you why. See, words and the meanings that we attach to them, they're very powerful. So when you're telling someone try, it's sort of already implied in the meaning that you don't really think they're capable of doing it, but hey, just give it a go. Why not? Just knock yourself out. I don't think you can do it, but I wouldn't do it if I were you, but go ahead, give it a try. That's kind of what you're communicating when you use that word try. So instead, and I've talked about this before, is just use the words do it. Just do it. This is what you're going to do. Give a firm command, not this vague try, where there's no real goalpost, right? Instead of just do it, black and white, you're going to do it and obey or not do it and disobey. So that puts a little bit more emphasis on it for the child, so that if they don't do it, they are disobeying you, and that should carry more weight to it than just like, well, I tried and I didn't do it, so oh well, no big deal. She told me just to try. Do you see what I mean? Those two are very different. So you want to use all the tools to your advantage, and one is the whole, trying to obey your parents. So they don't do it, they're disobeying their parents. Now, obviously, all good parents, they know what their children are and are not capable of. So obviously, don't abuse this. Don't have them, running your whole household, at such an early age. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about math or school, whatever it is that they are capable of. Do or do not. There is no try. Another tip that I have for you is to break it down into bite-sized chunks. So you might be familiar with the overnight student. I have a video on that where he went from flunking out of college multiple times to a straight A student. He would take the notes, but then he would break it up into bite-sized chunks, maybe like a sentence or two, and then cover it up and then read it back or pretend like he's teaching it to somebody else. That made a huge difference. Just taking it into bite-sized chunks. Sometimes it could just be so overwhelming that this is why Bible reading plans are so helpful, right? Taking an overwhelming task and breaking it down into smaller chunks. So if it's the math facts and it's a whole big stack that's overwhelming them, okay, how about just the 6 times tables? How about just even breaking it down further, 6 times 3 or 3 facts, whatever it may be, but they're continually developing on that skill and taking on more and more. This is a skill development game, not just the whole kit and caboodle by your certain timeline. They need to just keep improving their skills, but make it manageable. Break it into bite-sized chunks that they're comfortable with. So that's another tip. Break it down. And lastly, probably one of the most important things that I want to talk to you about here is help them be curious and imagining what life would be like if they master this skill. So basically all a skill is how well you can do a task. That's a skill. And we have within ourselves all the resources that we need to work on developing a skill. And that might seem a little crazy to you, but hear me out. For example, okay, let's take that example of a parent saying, I'm not a patient person, I could never homeschool, right? They're saying that they don't have that resource or quality, whatever you want to call it. They don't have patience in them. Again, as a virtue, as a characteristic, as a quality, resource, whatever you want to call it, they don't have it. Okay, well, I would invite them to ask themselves this question. Is there a time ever in life where you showed patience? Ever? Surely. For example, in the grocery store. Very rarely a person goes through life, right? Never having to wait in line at the bank, at the grocery store, whatever, right? Everybody has to wait. So when they're waiting in line, do they just, I can't do this, I don't have the patience for this, and leave their grocery cart and walk out? Or leave with their packages and not ship them out because there's a long line at the post office? No. Obviously, they had to exercise patience at that point to accomplish what they wanted. How did they do it? Maybe they had to, either in a positive side, think about the positive of going through with it. The reward outweighed the inconvenience at the time or the discomfort that they felt, right? Thinking about, I'm gonna get home and I'm gonna make this great dinner. I'm gonna eat these little chocolate things that I bought, whatever it may be, right? I can't wait to eat those salty chips, or just being able to provide and have food at home, etc. That reward is outweighing the inconvenience and the frustration of having to wait in line. Now, on the negative side, the flip side, some people are more prone to being persuaded through the positive intent, or others through the negative consequences. So the negative would be, if I don't wait in line and I just walk out and leave this cart, I'm just gonna have to do it again later because there's no food at home. If I leave here, it's gonna make a scene and it's going to look embarrassing, like I'm throwing a temper tantrum as an adult, or somebody else is going to have to put everything back that I pulled off the shelves, whatever it may be, thinking about others, thinking about you, doing it again, the discomfort, the embarrassment, that negative pressure, again, is enough to keep you waiting in line. So, and dealing with the discomfort to do it. Okay, so that's what I mean, that we all have those resources in us. It's just we're choosing when to use them. So that's what you want to, first of all, you be aware of if you're struggling with this, whether it be self-control or whatever. I mean, if you're struggling with self-control when it comes to dieting, think about other areas in life where you have self-control and try to transpose those skills to those areas that you need help with. How is it that you can have self-control in this area, but not in this area? What are some ways that you can kind of transpose, like how you motivate yourself in this area, or the fears of the negative consequences? It's okay if it's either or, they both work. Bring it over to this side as well. I can think of so many examples like this. So same thing for kids, teach your kids this. What would happen, and this is why RC is so fantastic, because it's so much more than just a curriculum, just acquiring facts. They're learning skill development, they're building on it, and they're having genuine self-confidence because they're doing hard things and they're getting through it. They're working through math on their own and they're getting it. They're getting their problems right. And so this is genuine self-confidence, and it's great skill building. So I'll be honest with you, I very rarely deal with this anymore, with this whole issue of I can't with my older kids, because there are so many things that they have already pushed through when it came to math, when it came to spelling, when it came to reading, when it came to maybe household things. So many things that already they've had that opportunity to hit that wall, come to grips with it, work through it, build on those skills, and now they have this genuine self-confidence, and they realize that they have the resources. Okay, maybe they don't have all these skills yet, but They know they have the resources in them, whether it be learning how to mow the grass. Okay, well, they've never mowed the grass before, but they know that they have the skills of determination, of hard work, of completing a task and following through, all of those different things. That's what you need in order to develop any skill. We all have all of those resources in us, unless I guess you really need therapy or something. But I think in general, we could recognize that we have all of these qualities. It's just when and how we choose to exercise them. So if you can teach your kids this, it's really a game changer. It just really gives them that self-confidence. Yeah, the hard work is in the beginning when you're teaching them these things, when they're starting or transitioning into RC and they're doing independent studies, but push through, just keep going, because the payoff is so worth it for you, for them, for the whole family. So coming back to the flashcard example, right, and this whole concept of resources, obviously you love your kids, you know them. So if they have a hard time with the memorization aspect of it, you can remind them, hey, do you remember when you memorized that whole song or that whole jingle, or you memorized that whole Bible chapter, things like that, and say, how did you do that could help you with this? Was it just repetition, etc. Making it into a song, whatever, right? So remind them of those times that they did exhibit those resources, those qualities, and it's going to kind of start turning the wheels for them. At the end of the day, this is something you can't really do for your kids. You can't flip a switch. I know we all wish we could, right? Flip a switch in their head to make them change the way they think about something. We can't. We're not in control of that. They are their own person. However, you can kind of guide them, right, into changing the way they think. And the earlier that you can do this before bad habits set in or limiting beliefs set in, this programming, the better they will be. Because whatever as a parent, you're having a tough time with, think about where that programming happened. It's usually around childhood, teenage years, whatever it may be, where somebody told you something and it stuck in your head, and then as an adult, you want to do something else, and that is kind of still in your head. And even though you try to change things, you for some reason self-sabotage yourself, and you're wondering why did I blow my diet, or why did I do this? It could be a number of reasons, but it could be because you still have that deep belief in your head that you don't deserve this, you're not good enough, you don't have any self-control, whatever it may be. So until you fix that disconnect or that limiting belief, you're going to just keep falling back to that deep pattern, right? The one that's been there the longest. So the sooner you can get a grip on this, the better. And the sooner you can teach your kids about this, I think the better as well. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be sure to make more videos like this. I love this type of content. I don't know if you enjoy it. So if you do, please let me know. But this is kind of in line with neuro-linguistic programming. And I know some people freak out when they hear that, but it's just neuro, brain, linguistic language patterns. And the way words have power, they do. And thoughts, as a man thinketh, so is he. These are very powerful things. And if you can, take every thought captive, just have some dominion over this, some control over this, you'll be able to control from your thoughts. You'll be able to control your emotions, and then you'll be able to control your actions. And boy, what a better world that would be if we could all be really good at that. Of course, nobody's perfect. And we're all going to have our bad moments, of course, but the more you can be aware of this and set new intentions, you can take some pretty good massive action. That's my 3-step formula for everything. Awareness, setting new intentions, and taking massive action. So again, if you found this helpful, please let me know in the comments down below. I'll be sure to make more videos like this, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.